You know, how you decide to carry your firearm is definitely a personal decision, but there's quite a few factors you should consider before making that choice. How's it going, guys, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Talk. You're out here in my little tiny cabin on wheels, parked out on my family's property that we're calling the Hopeful Homestead. And in this series of videos, I like to talk to all the husbands and dads out there that are just going through life, trying to make it, and we talk about all the hard things we got to deal with. And in today's video, we're discussing firearms and how you decide to carry it. Whether that's in the waistband, out of the waistband, open carry, concealed carry, pocket carry. There's a lot of ways to carry your everyday carry firearm. And today I want to discuss some of the factors that go into what makes that decision difficult and why you should or shouldn't decide to do any of those methods. Now, on a base level, as a husband and a father, you should be carrying a firearm at all times. Obviously, there's factors to consider involving state and local laws. You have to pay attention to those, but thankfully, over the past few years in America, quite a few states have started moving in the direction of course correcting some of the unconstitutional laws that have started to creep into our lives that were over-regulating how we were able to carry our guns. But I will say, wherever you are, be knowledgeable, look up the local laws on how you're supposed to be able to carry your firearm. And if they're encroaching on your rights, then go out and advocate for change. Because how you carry your firearm is really dependent upon your circumstance in life and what you're actually planning on using that firearm for. For me personally, when I'm out here on my family's property, we've got a 21-acre homestead here that we're going to be building our farmhouse on, and a barn and all kinds of stuff, raising some animals, farm animals, and growing some crops, and we bump up to a wildlife refuge that a lot of wildlife wanders onto our property. I open carry when I'm out here, whether it's having a rifle strapped on my back. Well, I pretty much always have my .45 Colt revolver on my hip. I make sure I have a lever gun with me, either within close proximity to me or actually on my person. I like to be able to, on my own property, open carry how I see fit with the kind of firearms that I feel are what are best fit for me and that I'm the best shot with, which happen to be lever guns and revolvers. That's how I like to carry when I'm on my property. And now, thanks to the open carry ban being struck down, I could carry that way out in public. I don't do that because I don't want to alarm everybody around me, which is why I decide to pocket carry when I'm out in public. But see, that's where I'm talking about. There's some personal decision there and personal responsibility that goes into how I'm carrying a firearm in different circumstances. So like I said, at home, I'm open carrying. If I'm going out camping or out on a hike in the woods somewhere, I'm open carrying there as well. Specifically, I like to have a chest holster for my revolver when I'm open carrying out on a trail. Keeping that firearm ready and accessible to me, even if I'm falling down or being attacked by an animal or whatever, that gun is right here on me. It's easy to pull it and use it if need be. But if I'm just going to the grocery store, or if I'm just walking out into public, going for a walk downtown, taking my wife on a date, all of those scenarios, I'm pocket carrying. I personally do not like in the waistband concealed carrying for two reasons mainly. One is that I don't like guns that are semi-automatic slide action type guns. I don't like carrying one in the chamber in a type of gun like that. For me, I like carrying a revolver in my pocket that I know is double action. I can pull that trigger and it fires. But at the same time, I can feel safe in knowing that it's not going to go off on accident. So for me, I'm carrying in my pocket. Also because here in South Florida, the majority of the year, it's pretty hot and sweaty. And carrying a gun up against your bare skin inside your waistband, the wear and tear that's going to happen on that gun from your sweat, it's just not good. And also, it's uncomfortable as heck. Having that thing pushing up against your skin and in your waistband, it's just, I don't like it. And honestly, I don't like drawing from that position because you have to lift your shirt, reach in, pull that gun from the holster underneath your waistband, not get it caught on the shirt. And if I carried a revolver in that position, revolvers are a little bit bulkier on the rear half where the hammer is and the grip. Those tend to be a little bit bulkier, so that's going to be what's sticking up and printing through the shirt. And honestly, that hammer could get caught on the shirt when I'm drawing it from that position. I just don't like that. So for me, pocket carrying a snub-nosed revolver is what works for me. And I carry that snub-nosed revolver inside of a pocket carry holster. I'm not just throwing a gun in my pocket. That way, when I go to draw, the holster has a grip texture around it that causes it to stay in my pocket while keeping the trigger and hammer protected from any sort of interference. And then when I draw it by pulling on the grip, that holster stays in my pocket, the revolver comes out, and I can fire. And one of the benefits is that you can be walking to your car in an area you don't feel comfortable with your hand in your pocket on the gun, ready to go, so that if any threat pops out, you already have your hand on your gun. That is a big advantage to me for pocket carry over in the waistband carry. So for when it comes to concealed carry, pocket carry is the way to go for me. But again, everybody's different. If you live in a more dry climate that has cooler temperatures, you might feel more comfortable carrying a gun in the waistband. It's not going to be as much of an issue for you. If you're in a climate where it's cold all the time, you can wear a jacket the majority of the time, or have like a button up like this, at least, you could carry with a shoulder holster inside of your armpit. So that's another way to be able to do it. But everybody has their own preference for how they like to carry their particular firearm that they like to carry as well. And so for you, you have to consider, which type of gun are you carrying? Are you wanting to carry a pocketable pistol? Are you carrying a semi-auto gun? Are you wanting to be able to have quick access to it because you're going to feel like your threat level is higher, like if you're on a hike or camping or something? Then maybe you open carry. Or if there's some civil unrest going, I can tell you what, at the peak of COVID, if I was carrying a firearm back then, I hadn't started carrying guns yet. COVID was one of the reasons that I just I saw the light and started to see what was going on in the world and decided to start carrying a gun. I don't know, I might have been open carrying in a situation where I'm going to try to find supplies for my family and everybody's acting like complete nut jobs. In that kind of scenario, maybe I am carrying a gun on my chest. You know, when it comes to open carrying in public, I don't necessarily like the hip option because someone can grab it from you from behind pretty easily. Even if you have a retention holster, it invites the opportunity for them to try to grab it from you. But if you're wearing it in chest holster, it's a lot harder for someone to be able to surprise you and take it off your chest. And it's gonna be easier to wrangle off of them, get them off of you. I think if the firearm was on your chest. So maybe in a situation where I feel like I need to project that I'm carrying a firearm, I think I'd carry it on my chest. But that's just a few examples of all the different scenarios that could play into how you decide to carry your firearm. And every situation, every person, every firearm has its own reasons and needs for different methods of carry. But that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks for being here. Again, this is the Hopeful Homestead. My name is Chad, and this has been another episode of Coffee Talk. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button. And if you feel like sticking around, there's a video right here that I did all about the debate between open carry versus concealed carry. So go check that out. But again, thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.